Moving from e-commerce to retail is a big step for any beauty brand to take.
The payoff could be huge. Big wholesale orders, new customers, and getting your products into destinations they've never been before.
Sounds exciting, right? But it requires strategy to pull it off just right.
Today, we're joining the founder at LA Beauty Club to show you how to break into retail. Hi everybody, my name is Angel Anise, co-founder and chief creative officer at Amp Beauty LA.
My name is Montre, co-founder and CEO of Amp Beauty LA.
And my name is Shiva Amadi, and I'm the founder and CEO of LA Beauty Club.
And I'm Obi Olawa, co-founder of LA Beauty Club, as well as the advisor and legal counsel.
We've been waiting so long to say this, but welcome back to our latest session of the AMP Academy. We are so excited for today's session in particular because we are at LA Beauty Club, the newest, the hottest, the best, the most inclusive, and it just so happens to be Black owned, so that's a plus. And we are about to get into our break into retail session. Before we do, we have to give a special shout out to our friends at Switcher Studio who are powering this stream and this session. Thank you, Switcher. We have some goodies for you all who tune in and stay tuned in, but more of that later on. I want to get straight into today.
Yes, let's dive in.
Yay, I'm excited. That was a beautiful introduction.
I feel like honored.
I know.
We're
Goodness.
honored.
I didn't describe our own company like that.
We gotta start.
Put it in the bio. Put it in the bio. And I'll say, you know, what we really wanted to do today with the Break Into Retail session is really talk about the experience for brands and for retailers from the e-commerce and the brick and mortar perspective.
Right. Yep.
And you all caught our attention immediately, first online.
Yes.
First online, the branding is top notch, the content is top notch.
The products are top
The
notch.
products are top notch. And Montre and I actually pulled up to the store one day and said, we're just gonna hop in here and see what they
Yes.
say.
They definitely did, just randomly.
Yes. And so we're going to jump in. I'm
Yes.
going to ask the questions that I wanted to know when I first walked into your beautiful doors. I'm like, first of all, who are these beautiful people, right? So how did you all meet?
We actually met in an event.
Yeah.
So I lived in New York for a good 5-6 years, and I finally decided to hang it up and move to LA. And I just really met him through mutual friends. That was literally, we were at an event, we started talking. He told me he was a lawyer, and then we just stayed in touch. Really.
At Fred Siegel specifically.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, well, yeah, we have some friends that work at Fred Siegel.
Like, it's
yeah.
something casual.
It was a pop-up.
Yeah, I think the pop-up was one of her friends, and then I know some of the guys at Fred Siegel, and so we were just both there, and we just met.
And then literally, actually, we had this joke. I don't know if you remember this, but we had this joke where he would literally be like, "Why do you never come out?" Because I saw him at that one event, and I stayed in the house after that. He's like, "Why do you never come out?" I'm like, "I'm working on $1 million plan." And then look, but
Now y'all are building this $1 million plan together. So y'all were both in New York at the time.
No, this is when she first moved to
I moved
LA.
here.
Oh wow. Okay.
From New York.
Okay.
And I went to an event and just so happened to meet him.
Yeah, I used to live in New York, but not during the time she was living in
Yeah.
New York. I lived in New York times ago,
Okay.
2009
Yeah.
to 2013, and then I moved back home. I'm from LA, so I moved back home to LA and established myself as a lawyer, and started as soon as I got that established. I kind of just wanted to jump into other business ventures on the side.
Yeah.
That's super
And then how did you guys meet?
Well, hanging on the New York story, Angel. Well, we met originally.
That's my line sister, honey. That is my line sister.
Okay.
Clark Atlanta University, the
Nice.
Alpine chapter.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Brought us together I'm not gonna say how long ago, but we grown and sexy. But we've known each other for a very long time. And I think similarly, we were just hanging out as friends, as sisters, and we just had this conversation.
Yeah.
I lived in New York at the time, and I was visiting LA, and I left my edge control at home in New York. We were out at dinner.
Yes, downtown LA.
Downtown LA with our third co-founder Felicia, and I'm like, "Yo, I left my edge control at home. Where can I go get
And
some?"
so Felicia and
Downtown is
I.
a bad place to lose your edge control.
Exactly.
No one else to get
Thank you.
Listen, okay.
This is that's the
Proof of
testimony.
concept.
So Felicia and I look at each other awkwardly, like, how do we tell her that we have to, like, she has to go to Inglewood or Crenshaw, which we love those communities, right? Like, totally support them. But we're downtown LA. That's like a 25 minute commute. Right. So, like, I'm sure Angel would have probably paid upwards of, like, double the price of what Edge Control just to have it. And it led to the larger conversation of why is beauty not as convenient and accessible for us as it is. Like, there's a Target, literally, like 100 feet. Like, we can throw a rock. And there's one here, too. This is why it's location. So amazing. But she's like, well, can I just go to Target? And we're like,
not in LA.
Not quite how
that
was. But you might find Edge Control at a Target in Atlanta.
Right.
Like they have packs of hair there and everything. You know,
they have everything, but not in downtown LA.
Yeah.
Right.
Different
not
demographic.
In downtown LA.
Right.
So that conversation, we literally left that dinner like, okay, we need to make something better. We need to create it. You know, like we all have our personal relationship with beauty. We all have our personal relationship with beauty. Montre worked in luxury beauty retail. You know, I came from an editorial background. Felicia was the legal tech girl. And we're like, okay, how can we bring this together and make something amazing?
And basically, we were just like, okay, let's build this. And like, if we're the only ones to shop it, at least we have a place to go to grab all of our products, right?
Yeah.
And then through our research and surveying, like our network, it was like overwhelmingly everyone had this problem, and they were like, just like, can you guys do something about it? And we're just like, okay, so that's where Amp Beauty LA.
Oh wow,
nice.
Makes sense.
So
nice.
Yeah. But you know what I love about y'all?
What?
Okay. Okay, the reason that I love LA Beauty Club, and I always say this, I think like when you're new and you're trying to create something innovative, and you enter that space as a Black person or a Black woman or another marginalized founder, underrepresented founder, right? There seems to be only space for one, right? There's this notion that only one can be in the door, only one can be in the room. And the reason that I love LA Beauty Club so much is because you represent that beauty supply store that I grew up going to with my friends and my mom and my cousins, you know, like we have the e-commerce game, but I think there's something so special about experiencing beauty in person and not having it be Sephora, no shade, or not having it be Target, having it be a store that carries products for us, by us, and most importantly owned by us. Because you don't see this a lot.
It's the cultural context.
Yes.
That's like the way I like to put it. It's the cultural context that other groups, no matter how much knowledge you might have, it's a cultural context that you can't have when you're just not part of the culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it makes it way more special, like way more special. And it makes me so emotional when people say stuff like that. They're like, oh, this is what makes it special to me. It's like, it's actually for us. The music when you come in here is, you know, like it's our stuff.
We've actually had customers come in here and cry.
Yes, we had a customer cry the other day. It was so.
Yeah, she was like feeling so special to be here, and she was just
she was from St. Louis, and she was like, I've just never, like, we don't have anything, like, this is not even a thing, like, you don't even see a Black-owned beauty supply like where I'm from, so let alone to see it, and it's like, I walk in, and you're playing, like, Lotto, and you're, like, talking to me about products, and, like, you know, and we can have a conversation, like, I've never experienced that before.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, we know the story about how you all met, so what was the story behind building LA Beauty Club?
So, really, LA Beauty Club came from frustration. It was a frustration idea. I was living in New York, and like, so we've always been getting profiled at the beauty supplies, but I feel like with the era of the cameras and social media, you know, people, now you're able to post things online a lot and stuff, and there was like a viral story that happened where a girl went into a beauty supply store in New York and got profiled, and it was on camera. Then there was another one who she went to a nail salon in New York, and it was, I think, like Korean owned or something like that, and she got profiled and they actually hit her.
I remember that story.
Yeah.
I lived in New York at the time when that happened.
And I was there too.
So do you guys remember the story of the
girl?
It
was, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. It's very, like, you don't really want to watch it, but it's good just to see, because it's good to know what's going on. But then there was like one day after work, I was just really tired and I needed to stop by the beauty supply to get a few things. I went, I got profiled, and you know, more or less, like, you ever have a friend where you're like, maybe, or a coworker or somebody who like, they constantly do something that's like really annoying or it bothers you, but you don't really like say anything or do anything about it.
Yeah.
And then there's just like that one day that they say something and just like sets you off.
That's
but really,
the
it's like
day.
a build up to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was one of those. Like, it was just,
Yeah.
the lady was just like watching me, kind of hawking me, and I don't know what it was about that day. I guess I was just tired. And then all this stuff had been happening in the news, and I was just, I left, I didn't buy anything. And I just was on my way home on the train. You know, if you ever lived in New York, you already know. The train is your time.
A lot of mental exercise.
Yes.
The train.
That's your time. That's your time. That's your me time.
Yes.
Your decompress time.
Yes.
And I just was thinking, like, why is it like this? I was like, this actually makes no sense of why. I've never been to a beauty supply and I've never purchased products from someone who looks like me, who looks like my mother, who looks like my sister, my uncles, anything like that. And I was just like, why is it this way? And then I actually started looking up on my phone, like researching a little bit more about like, oh, like, are there other black-owned beauty supplies? Maybe I just don't know. And they're just really hard to find. And then I started doing more research and found out more information about like 86%. We have 86% of buying power in the beauty supply industry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
What's the
but
ownership?
3%
Exactly.
is black owned.
Exactly.
And when I saw that, I was like,
Exactly.
no.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, there has to be something that I can do. So I started kind of planning and thinking through things, and it obviously was very much in its infant stages at that point. I didn't even have the money or investors or anything, but I started just talking to people about it and kind of seeing like what the possibilities were, and then, you know, that's kind of how it grew on my end. And then when I met Obi, and then we talked more and became closer, then he kind of bought into it.
Yeah, and my part of this story is she definitely had this idea for years, and then I'm kind of like a serial entrepreneur, so I'm just like always trying to find the new thing and like how do I find you
That sounds like
resources
somebody I know up here.
and how do I find you resources to make this happen? So I kind of teamed up with a few guys that I know in our, you know, just different spaces that I'm in. I'm an entertainment lawyer, so I just kind of reached out to this team and said, hey, would you guys be interested in, you know,
I did a full pitch.
kind of creating
Full
the
pitch.
Like, give me
whole...
my respect.
Yeah.
I know the pitch.
And-
When you're asking for money,
To
you
be
gotta
honest,
have a
she wasn't
plan.
the only person
Yeah.
we vetted either. She wasn't the only person. We kind of vetted multiple people. She just won.
So what you vetted multiple people specifically who were building out.
Just anything,
beauty
just
retail
different.
space. Okay,
Not even
got
just
it.
beauty.
Just
It
like
was
a
just
high
anything.
growth
Just
startup.
just
Okay.
a good startup that was entrepreneurial. Like we were just like wanted to support one person and see if their idea could. I mean, look, the guys that I'm dealing with, we want to see money. So our idea was like, all right, is this a good idea? you know, yes, and quickly, you know.
And then
So
also too, like I
so-
will say, like once I started talking to you, especially like in the beginning when I first started talking to you more about like the statistics,
yeah.
you were like, oh, what the hell? Like I can't
I was-
believe it's such a big.
I was wondering why
Yeah.
there had been so many non-black investors into the situation, and it wasn't
Wow.
obviously.
Preach. Speak on that.
Yeah. I was unclear on why there wasn't enough, and then I also realized that it was a knowledge thing, right? And so as a straight black man, it was like I just didn't know. You know what I mean? I see women all the time. I see how much. You know, you guys are into beauty and all that stuff, but I don't know how much you're spending. I don't know.
And black women specifically, because we love a good statistic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw out some for y'all.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, this is my favorite one. Black women spend 9 times more in beauty and personal care than any other demographic in the United States. We only make up 14% of the population, but we spend 9 times more than any other group in beauty and personal care.
And I believe that.
That's billions of dollars
Yes.
every year.
It's a $50 billion industry.
With a B, with a big B.
With a big B.
Yes,
With a big
yes.
And you know, as someone that loves, you know, moving around money and moving stuff like that, like I was like very confused. So
Yeah, he was like,
I just didn't
why? I don't
understand.
understand. And I was like,
I truly didn't understand.
well,
it.
because if we didn't want, I don't know how deep we want to get into it, but you know, they really, people definitely put obstacles in place to make it difficult for you to break in so that they can continue to control the industry
Right.
and help each other while we struggle to find suppliers and struggle to meet minimums and struggle to so forth, so forth.
And with that story, it was just kind of like more so like, all right, well, this is a good industry. We did the numbers, and you know,
made
based
sense.
on when she sent her proposal and other people's proposal, we all still kept veering toward the.
numbers
It was like one of those like we had. We had electronic guys shoot us, ideas. We had let's be real cannabis guys in LA shoot us ideas, and it just wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just. We could do that on that was just a different. That platform wasn't going to make us enough of what we're trying to throw into an entrepreneur. So
as an investor, was it more impact or was it more numbers?
Honestly, the group that had put together was 50-50.
Okay.
So it was, how do we make an impact, but how do we get those numbers? Because we at the end of the day, my group of guys are like we're trying to make money. So we're not going to sugarcoat that. We didn't sugarcoat that with her. We didn't sugarcoat that with any other applicants. We just straight up said like, it's a money
He's a numbers
move.
guy.
This is straight up, but we would love to make an impact and showed us how we can. You know what I mean? And that was another thing she presented, like, this is how you're going to impact, and this is why it's important.
Yeah, and oftentimes, like, their, impact and numbers play off each other, right?
For sure.
Numerically, spending power, dollars, Black people, we have such a huge impact. We drive these industries. We just don't have the ownership in it.
Yep.
So when you marry the ownership with the spend and the potential for spend and the support, that's when you can really start moving things forward.
Absolutely.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I love that.
Yeah, and that's how it kind of came about.
Okay, and now we're here at LA Beauty Club.
And now we're here.
And now we're here. Live and flesh. And you all just opened up in 2022, right?
Yeah.
We were online first.
Okay.
We were online in 2021, which went well. So we were like similar to you guys, but we did have, like I know you guys focused specifically on Black-owned brands, and we had like more of a variety, some Black-owned, some not Black-owned, that type of thing. But we were online for a year until, we just opened up. It's been like about 45 days or something.
Yeah, we found the space maybe like in October.
Yeah, and that was a whole other thing. It was like finding the physical retail space that made sense, had parking, was in our budget, negotiating, figuring out what the budget was for renovations, making it all make sense. That was a process.
She was on a mission. I can't even front. She was really trying to find the right space.
It took me 9 months.
It was days where she's like, I like this spot, but there's no parking. Ladies can't have a place where we can't park. That's the smallest stuff.
He literally
I'm
could be like, no, this place is perfect. Like, let's go for it. And I'm like, no, I don't think you understand. Women
everything was
like to parallel park.
Even
as a woman who can parallel park, I don't like to parallel park.
I don't want to try.
So if I have the option between not parallel parking,
I don't try. So I have no foot in this race. But that's so important.
It's so small stuff.
I got Uber everywhere. But I think that's so important too, especially when you talk about like a brick and mortar experience, right? You can be online, you can scroll all day, but when it comes to being in store, you want to interact. You want to touch, you want to feel, you want to see. So you're going to be there for a minute.
Absolutely.
So I want to feel like comfortable. I want to feel like my space is secure, my car is secure, my environment. And then you also want to have that ability for people to drive by or walk by.
Absolutely.
And be just captivated by what space you have created. Yeah, you guys have done that.
Even events. Like we have events, we have happy hours, we want part of the reason why we decided to do brick and mortar is that we wanted to invite the community. Like we wanted those in-person interactions. Like there's people, crazy enough, like there's people who come in here and we talk and they buy their stuff. Sometimes they don't. They just come in and chat and they hug me.
There's been
like we hug each other.
Post-COVID.
They actually are like, can I hug you? I'm so happy. It's that.
So just curious, to top it off, like how many brands, this is a beautiful space. I'm really jealous that our viewers can't see this amazing space, but how many beauty brands do you have currently?
Ooh.
It's over 150 brands.
Whoa.
Yes.
Yeah,
including accessories.
Excuse her a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot.
So
it's well over 500 actual items, like units, and over 150 brands.
Love it. So if I'm a beauty brand and I drive by and my dream is to be in brick and mortar, like what advice would you have for a brand who wants to pitch to you?
That face is telling me something. Be fully transparent, because the people watching this, it's our AMP Society, it's family, it's love, but it's also other brand founders who are really looking to get into that retail space, and they don't get this sort of insight from these big box retailers, so we want to give it to them today.
And it's the uncut gems.
It is.
Okay, Julia.
Uncut gems.
Okay, Adam Sandler.
Honestly, the first piece of advice that I would give, which is really vague, but the people who understand it will understand it, is to know when you're not ready. Like, it's okay to not be ready. It's okay to say, I really aspire to this, but I know I'm not there yet. And I think that it's really important for people to not only come to that realization, but to then figure out or ask what are the steps that they need to do to be ready before you pitch. Because once you pitch and it's not right, and your product isn't ready, your packaging isn't ready, you know, this brand story isn't ready, there's so many things that aren't ready, it kind of leaves it leaves you at more of a loss than it does at anything else. Because especially if you're pitching to like a brick and mortar, and especially, I mean, even if it's large owned, even if it's small owned, but whatever, we're really busy. You know what I mean? Like, we're really busy, so we unfortunately don't have the time. Like, we would love to be able to coach people all the way through the process, but we literally don't have the time to coach through that whole thing. So it's like, do the research on your end, you know, make sure that your packaging makes sense, study successful packaging. You know what I mean? Like, some people, they're like, oh, I love my logo, so they slap it huge. They slap a huge logo on it, but they never put what is the actual product.
Or the ingredient.
That's so huge. I was going to say, that is the biggest seller.
Ingredients.
Especially for beauty industry.
Yes.
It's like, yo, people
it's
want to know.
cosmetics. You're putting on your hair, you're putting on your skin.
So the first thing I'm picking up, okay, what's in this?
I'm turning it over to see the ingredient. And so many more people are conscious right now, right? Like,
more than ever.
Statistic
alert: 75% of products targeted to Black women in the beauty space are classified as toxic. So it's harmful ingredients, it's a lye, it's dyes, it's fragrance that's irritants for our skin and our hair and our bodies. And we're more aware, we know better, so we want to turn around and see those ingredients. And I think that a lot of brands are missing on that opportunity. You know, a lot of smaller brands are, you know, small batch, handmade, natural ingredients, but that's a chance for you to shine and really spotlight.
Absolutely.
But you don't put the ingredient list there,
Also,
and there's nothing to pull from.
The actual study the actual packaging, because the thing is that I think one thing that we've definitely learned from this is just like, a lot of times there are a few different types of customers. There are, of course, the customers who they're exploratory, right? They want to experiment. They want to try new things. They want to figure out, you know, they'll come and buy 5 different things, and if something doesn't work, they're like, oh, it didn't work, it's fine. I'm going to come back and get some more stuff, right? But then there's the other large percent of the population of people who they buy what they're used to. They buy it because they've used it a long time. They use it because their mothers used it. They use it because their best friend used it and her hair looks great or her skin looks great. They buy it off of that, right? So you have to think about, when you're small and you're just starting, you have to consider, how do I stand up to and how do I stand out from the other items on the shelf?
Yes, absolutely. It's an investment. It's an investment. And I want brands to be mindful too. I think it's very true for us as an e-commerce business, but also for you all too. You know, you all carry products, and Amp Beauty LA, we carry products. We do not drop ship. We don't believe in it, specifically because we want our customer to have like a really elevated experience. So we don't want, you know, 5 different boxes like the Amazon model. We want you to shop Amp Beauty LA. You get everything in one box. But your products are going to be moving. They're going to be shipped. So, what are you packaging your product in? Is it leak proof? Do you have a protective seal? We've received so many products from new brands that don't have protective seals, and we can't send it out to our customers. It's shaking, it's moving, it's gonna leak. And that it's an appeal too. If I open up something that doesn't have a seal, I'm gonna question it. I'm gonna question it, and it speaks to like your integrity and your, it's an added expense, it's an added layer of what you have to do, but it's important. So you have to think about that.
And that first impression,
it's everything.
Like, and the reason why I like you can have the most amazing product if no one knows about it, and it's not attractive. It's a lot harder of a sell. You know what I'm saying? Because first impressions matter. Like, you got to think about what's gonna, of all the products that people have been using for the last 15 years, 10 years of their life. Why would they switch it up now?
Right. Attraction. Wait, Montre, we have to tell this story.
Which one?
If you are a beauty business and you have any sort of real estate online, your own, if you're sending products to a retailer to promote you, invest in your product photography. Invest in the product photography. Number one. When we first launched AMP, I'm gonna tell y'all what we did. We launched AMP Beauty LA with 15 brands and 50 products in September of 2020. So not a lot. We're thinking it's not a lot, right? We rented out a pier space. We got Montre's camera. We found some sort of backdrop in downtown LA. We said we're going to shoot this. And we shot it. And we went live with it. And the conversions, once it got through our friends and family, nobody else was coming and pulling those images out. You have to really think about how your image is really representing your product online, because if you are researching online, or I am looking on social media, that is what is really drawing people in. So you need a great product shot, you need great texture shots, and really invest in it. One more thing I'll say when it comes to product photography, do a full buyout. Okay, a lot of brands don't realize that the photographer who takes your images owns those images. So what we did was we said, listen, we're employing you as a photographer to take these images for us, but we're gonna buy them out and own them outright.
Those are legal issues.
It's a legal counsel. Buy your images.
Buy it out.
We had to do the same thing with our images, our official team images. We said, we're buying these outright. These are our images. It's an extra expense, but we've used those pictures time and time again, and over and over and over. And it's so important. It's a higher cost up front, but when you think long term, it's really worth it. It's really worth it.
To touch on your point, we when we planned our first shoot for LABC as a brand, we did that exactly. We got like a really high-end photographer, asked her price. She obviously discounted it because she wanted to help out and really believed in the mission, which is great. So we're like, we can go on her pictures now. She's still promoting that. So, but she just wants to help, and we gave her, I made sure there was contracts for every single person, releases for every single model. That's all important, because technically the models matter too. And we use them. Now to this day, our models still come in and help us out. You know what I mean? And we use them as our cards, our business cards. They're the image for it's their face.
It's their face.
And a lot of people have we've had people literally approach one of the models that worked with us, and now she's pretty much the face of us, and say, "Oh, I got this card in my house. I know you." Like, and we want to support Zanab, and she definitely supported us. So it's like we want to continuously work with people. It's like a family. So. Even if you're like family, we still want to buy it out and do it the right way. So
just do it the right way. Do it the right way.
Speaking of the right way, and speaking of the right way, talking about brands and approaching and how to get into the store. Approach is your biggest thing. Like, even if you're not ready, we are more willing and more receptive to helping you with your approach. To be honest, you'll be surprised how many things people forget they say they won't do, and then when the approach is right, they end up doing it. It's like, I'll do it for you because you just can't meet the right way. A lot of times we get people calling our store asking, hey, how can I get inside the store? Well, unfortunately, you don't call Target and do that, right? You don't call Target and say, can I speak to the owner of Target? Can I get in your store? the manager will even
But that goes back to being ready, right?
Well,
that goes back to being ready and doing the legwork behind the
Obi's
scenes.
passionate about this.
Yeah, I am because it goes.
Well, they call me.
Well, because it's crazy. I'm passionate about this because it goes across.
And I
All,
get
it
mad.
goes against across all professions, right?
It
doesn't just start with being owners of a beauty supply. It goes for me being a young black lawyer, for you guys being young entrepreneurs as black women and things like that. Don't approach me as if I'm less than. Because I don't have, because I don't have a large office on Sunset. Don't approach me like that because you don't know my clients, you don't know who I'm dealing with, you don't know anything. So you should approach me as if I'm the most
Target,
top tier
Ulta,
person you're approaching,
Sephora.
the same way I would approach you like you're my top tier client, no matter what, right?
Now, I'm going to make a deeper investment in you because of who I am and who you are.
Right.
However, this is still a business.
Yeah.
You know, Amp Beauty
Yeah.
is Amp Beauty Inc.,
Yeah.
baby. It's incorporated. We have investors. We have, stakeholders
Yes,
that we
that all
have
matters,
to really
yeah.
perform for.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just the vanity or the optics of saying we have a store, we have products. We have to be accountable to ourselves, to our partners,
That's a really good
to people
point.
who invest in us. Yeah.
I always like to
I was gonna say I have one. I have one that I gotta get off real quick. I swear it'll be my last one. But honestly, to hit that point that you just made, results really matter. It's not just. I think there's this thing with like I don't know if it's social media, the internet. I'm not sure what to point the finger at, but I definitely feel like there's like this thing of people feeling like once they get their products in, like
it's
like ooh, like I got my products in there. Like my products are in there.
No, it's a
My products are on Amp.
Yeah.
My products. It's a partnership, and it's not just getting your products in the store. If they're sitting on the shelf and they're not selling,
And you should be concerned. And you should be worried.
yes,
You should be worried. You should check in with your vendors or retailers and let them know, like, hey, how is the performance doing? Like, I think every quarter at least. I mean, from my previous experience and working in prestige luxury, it was literally we had fall planning meetings, we had spring planning meetings, and those meetings entailed of us literally for 2 weeks sitting down with vendors and beauty brands and saying, hey, what is your plan? What are you forecasting for the next year? What are your launches? What are your metrics? This is how much product we have. How can we push? Like, it's all about pushing it. Yes, pushing the numbers. Yes.
Pushing the numbers. It's not just, oh, it's on the shelf, or oh, my products are available at Target.
And now the retailers join the work.
Hello.
Yeah.
Because as fast as they can be in those stores, they can also be out of those stores. The idea is to stay and to grow and to scale, not just to have them in there so that you can say that they're in there.
So piggyback off that, just like Target, like any other retail, if it's not selling here,
probably
I'm probably gonna take it off the shelves. Like,
and we
it's just
struggle
that simple,
with that.
And
VDLA has struggled with that because we have brought on so many brands that did not perform for us, and we tried our best. We poured resources. We had the conversations, and I want to say this specifically to brands. You might pitch and make it into Amp Beauty LA, but you might do better at LA Beauty Club. You might do better at another retailer. Right. This retailer does not have to be your only one. So your success at one retailer does not have to define the success of your brand in the long term. You might be better just selling your products direct to consumer versus going retail. So you have other options. But if you do want to enter into that partnership, be down for the retailer. It's not just on us to do the work to promote you. It's on us together collectively
as
to
a
foster a
partnership.
relationship to really make sure you're successful and we're successful too.
And another point, I think, as far as like marketing tools, like leverage gratis, leverage samples, leverage minis. I'm sure like that drives volume. Like you have to, when you're building out your product, you have to think, can this be compatible for a mini size? Can I put this in a sample? Can I use, let's do a marketing campaign. Let's get some influencers together. Like that's the partnership where you have people on your team where we're rooting for you just as much as you're rooting for yourself. Right. And if you can just present these opportunities, I think it goes back to the pitch. I think it goes back to packaging, representing yourself the right way, and being able to just push your brand forward.
And that can get you on shelves.
And that can get you on shelves.
How many times we've asked people, do you have samples to send, just so we could try?
Yeah.
Not even to send out en masse to our customers. So think about that. When you approach a retailer, you got the product photography, right? You have the packaging together. But if I want to be in this store, I want the owner of that retailer to really root for me, really rally for me, and know how good my stuff is. Send us samples. We're going to try it. might make us fall in love, and that will be the extra gas for us to say this product is it, and everybody needs to know about it.
And I think the extra gas for me is I like to see that there's a strategy. I'm a strategy person. I worked in marketing for a decade.
Love it.
I'm letting a little bit too much. But anyway,
since you were 18.
Exactly. I worked in marketing for a long time, and I think what really does it for me is when not necessarily things don't have to be perfect, but I think seeing that there's a strategy. You know what I mean? That there's a thought process through it all. It all makes sense. It's not just like, oh, this is my product and I like it and you should like it too. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you plan on selling it? Who is it for? Like, does your audience align with our audience? What is your objective of being in here? If you are selling I always say this, if you're selling your item for $5, then you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You're not going to make any money.
And now that you're touching on numbers, I always tell people, as for brands, you're looking to get into retail, but you're also potentially looking for investors, right? So how do you get those type of guys, like myself and my team and my other guys? Show us some numbers. Like, we want all the hard facts. Like, we're in love with hard facts, right? So don't sit here and say, well, we've done well based on this or that. No, just show me.
Yeah,
like,
quarter
show
to
me what
quarter.
your Shopify says. Show me what your whatever
year to date.
Like you said, quarterly.
People
Show
do.
me.
When he says that to people, they get a little like,
people get offended by me.
Like, I don't know. Like, but the thing is that it's not about, like, we're not expecting you to be selling like $1 million a quarter. You know what I mean? It's not really that.
Yeah, exactly.
Where I can
and also
help.
that you should know your numbers too.
That's
so
important.
Again, going back to strategy and you want to be in business with people who are also doing business well and doing business properly. So if I ask you a question like that, or he asks you a question like that, and you have no idea what your numbers are, that's alarming.
So curious, what do you say to the beauty brands that are watching right now and they're, bootstrapping their business and they have, minimal resources to allocate as far as funding to their business? What area do you think they should focus on? And and it's a two-part question. So if they have minimal resources, what area of their business should they focus on? And what does the perfect pitch to LA Beauty Club look like?
Wow.
That's a good question.
Okay.
I am a marketing person. I think put your money in your marketing. Spend the money. Don't be afraid to spend the money, because you can have a great product. It can work well. You can have all of these great. It can be great. But if no one knows about it, it doesn't mean a damn thing.
And to add to her, yes, marketing, for sure. Because marketing affects what people like me want to see. How's it look, the numbers, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about this earlier, your creative tank, right, has to be, especially when you don't have as many resources, your creative tank has to be running on that marketing
That's
part.
real.
And once that marketing part hits, once the virality or like that marketing part hits, well then now you're just shooting for like a very small percentage of those viewers or followers to convert, right? So if you can get that small percentage that shows some numbers, which comes to guys like me, we're like, oh.
So where's the money go?
Huh?
So where do you suggest to put the money?
I say marketing. Marketing.
You better agree.
Well, I'm just saying. What I'm saying is that guys like me want to see a certain thing, but how do you get
the perfect pitch?
How do you get there is showing us those creative things. Okay, this is what I did for this project and market it out, and this was how it converged. Yeah. If I got a little bit of backing and pushed this type of marketing, I can convert way more. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So that's how you
results.
So
the perfect
marketing
has
leads you to results, and that's what like I said, good marketing. So just be creative and that's because that's what you can afford. Like, let's be real. That's the hardest part about business is resources, aka money.
So let's dive in a little deeper.
Like, let's call it what it is.
As far as but marketing. Okay, so there's packaging, like you said before. There's Google ads, there's Facebook ads. When you say marketing, what specifically, as a small business owner, I'm like, do I invest in my packaging? Do I run a TikTok with Google ads? Or like, where do I put as far as marketing? Because we agree that marketing is core and key. Yeah. So what part of marketing?
I say your website. Extremely important. Because it has to convert.
And websites are not expensive, by the way.
Websites
SEO,
are not expensive.
Yeah, that's huge. People
and you can follow the template. Just follow the template. Follow the template.
And full transparency, we spent thousands of dollars on our website and all of the bugs, developments, new pages, new this. myself or Montrese doing it.
Yeah.
So you can definitely figure out how to do it yourself. I actually saw this tweet the other day. It said that if I go to a website and it's not popping, I'm not going to buy it because that's going to be indicative of what I receive when I order that product in the mail. So people are looking at your website, your socials, all that stuff to see what does it look like.
Marketing doesn't necessarily mean expensive. Look, if you use Shopify,
Shout out to Shopify.
Emails, okay, you can send emails, you can send SMS messages, social, organic. You don't have to put a dime behind it. SEO, you can really do yourself. It's tricky, but you can do it yourself. Like, again, that goes into legwork. Also, too, I'm a firm believer, don't underestimate the power of in real life. Pull up.
Yeah, word of
Pull
mouth is
up. Go
everything.
hand out flyers. Go talk to people. Go let people know about your shit. Like, don't just think that just because we live in this digital world that everything has to be. Flyers don't cost a lot of money. Go to nextdayflyers.com. Okay, you can get yourself like 500 flyers. Okay, 4x6. You know, for the low, Canva's cheap. You can make your own flyers.
Yeah,
like
we put flyers on cars
organic
around the area.
Everything, and
like
you know, we're e-commerce at beautyla.com, at beautyinc.com, but we've had so much success in real life too. We've done pop-ups, we've done events with NAACP, we're doing flea markets, and you don't have to be relegated to that lane. If you are inside of a brick and mortar store, you can have your own website. You can sell on an Instagram shop, a Facebook shop. If you are an e-commerce retailer like us, you can still do events in real life. So you don't really have to be limited into the space that you're building your business out, right? Like explore those other avenues and just make sure, you know, the foundation is taken care of. Yeah.
I love it. That was great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have $1,000 in the bank. Right now, where are we spending it? Shiva?
it depends on where we're at.
That's it. No, right now, right here.
She's saying right now.
Today.
We only have $1,000 in LA Beauty
$1,000.
Club. You're on La Brea, across from Target and Starbucks.
Where are we spending it?
Where are you spending your last $1,000?
I'm spending my last $1,000 on hair. All different types of braiding hair, some bundles. Those are investment pieces, okay?
Yeah.
Wigs, those are investments. You know, you can spend the block on some wigs.
love it.
If you take care of it, you know, get you some silicone mix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would definitely spend my $1,000 on hair.
I love it.
I guess I'm the money guy, so I'm for sure throwing into inventory. Inventory is like the bread and butter of beauty industry right now, especially with beauty supplies. So I'm looking for hair.
Okay.
Yeah, hair.
Montrese, what you spending?
Hair is the
Hair.
biggest. Look, I
But
was presenting hair markups in the beginning of this process. I'm convinced.
Okay.
Bundles and braiding hair. Connect the line, baby. Rasta free.
I can run it up with $1,000 with no brick and mortar. I can run it up with if I knew that. If I knew. If I knew, I would have just gone and bought a bunch of braiding hair and sent it to my sisters, my cousins, everybody. Be like, yo, this is my hustle. Like, who else needs this? Like,
Everybody.
Everybody.
Ask my homegirls, hey, how many inches you gonna need? You know?
How many inches?
I just would have been
20 to
on it. I would have just done it if I had known. I would have just done it from the beginning.
It is,
So,
I have
inventory,
hair I bought years ago.
Yeah, I had known.
But
I
I
would've
see,
just-
I need a different texture today. I need a different color
But
tomorrow.
with $1,000,
another length.
But with $1,000, I would've got
you could get a little, you know, you could
I
get a
would've
wig,
got-
a few bundles. You could do even some like we got every inch. We got inches from 10 down to 30. Okay.
I'm not going front. I'm starting off with braiding hair before I go to the bundles. I'm wilding out on a bunch of Rasta.
Braiding hair you can't reuse though.
That's what I'm saying, but that's why I'm getting it off, and then I'll
Because
come
they
back.
gotta come back from
They gotta come back, and then I'm gonna flip it,
Right.
and I'm gonna take. Oh, now I got braiding hair. Take this other bit. Now we getting wigs. Oh, we got wigs now. Oh, we got. Look, we got wigs and braiding hair.
That's
Montrese.
That's just me. You don't have to go my route.
$1,000 for
What
Montrese.
would you do? Yeah.
$1,000. If I had $1,000, I would left in the bank account running my business. I would invest in digital marketing. I think I would try to flip a digital ad. I would try to create something super viral that would get people's attention and like. But then you need the inventory, right?
Oh,
You gotta have
We
learned that lesson.
learned
We
that
learned
huge
that
lesson. She went viral on Twitter, and we
that
got.
was a hard
It
lesson.
wiped us out. It was a hard lesson.
It was a hard lesson.
For about a
Yeah.
week,
It was a
week
hard.
or 2 weeks, we were kind of
Left
low on
with
inventory,
very
and
little.
that's when.
Yeah.
That's why I'm now convinced. I'm like,
That's our rose water
inventory.
facial spray conundrum. You know, like when you have your business and you might have a press hit that you're not aware of, or somebody includes you in a roundup or something. You don't know where that's going to travel. And we've been sold out of a product for a very long time. Yeah. And the wait list for it, we set up a wait list. Set up a wait list. When you're sold out, set up a wait list. Have those people subscribe, text them, send them emails, introduce them to something new in the meantime. Keep them engaged, right? But that list just keeps growing, and people are still giving us traffic from that.
Okay,
you know, one very
I
small
believe that
hit.
for sure.
$1,000.
You gotta stay ready.
$1,000.
I got $1,000.
$1,000 that you
$1,000. Okay, I'm gonna say this, and I've never said this publicly. We had if Amp Beauty LA only had $1,000 left, I would invest it in a pop-up real life event and experience. And I will say this. Although we are e-commerce and we've had some amazing months, our biggest single day sales, our biggest 2-day sale, 3-day revenue numbers have come when people are able to shop us in person and interact in person. So I would pull up, pop up somewhere, have a nice event, and bring our products there to let our customers experience it in real life.
I love it.
I love it.
We're connecting.com
We
in
are.
real life, like we are with AMP and LA Beauty Club,
right.
right?
I love it. Draw the connection. Okay.
That's a good one.
This has been good. This has been
Amazing.
such a good conversation.
I hope you guys join us again for our
We have to do a
would love
part
to.
two. We
Yes.
just peeled
this-
back that
yes,
first
we
layer,
did.
so we're coming back. We're coming back for our part 2, but I can't thank you enough, Obi and Shiva, for being
Of
here
course.
with us and being
Thank
so
you.
transparent.
Thank you for
Thank you for having
us.
us.
Yeah.
We're so happy to be part of it, honestly. When you guys came in that first day, it was like, we should stay in touch with them.
Yes, it was immediate. So thank you so much for hosting AMP Academy at LA Beauty Club. If you are in the Los Angeles area, make sure you stop by their shop. Follow them at
LA Beauty Club __.
2 underscores. Make sure you follow us at AMP Beauty LA. If you have more questions for us, if you want to talk to us directly, make sure you text us 323-402-6038. And stay tuned. The AMP Academy is not over. We have so much more in store. So make sure you guys like this video wherever you see it, share it with your friends, leave a comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And before we go, we got to give you guys something special from AMP Beauty LA and our friends at Switcher Studio.
Yes. So if you're ready to level up your business and have a live streaming session similar to what we put on today, use the code AMPBeauty at switcherstudios.com for a free 3-month trial. Are you ready? Let's do it. Use the code and we'll see you there.